Yes, welcome everyone. Cannabis News with Joe Klare. It is July 2nd, 2018. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for checking out the show. All of the platforms that you watch or listen, it's because of you that we continue to do what we are able to do week in and week out, 5 days a week. MarijuanaTimes.org if you want great articles, great videos. Click the video tab at MarijuanaTimes.org to find this show. And of course, if you have not heard the glorious news, our return to YouTube. Yes, the Marijuana Times YouTube channel has been restored. Search the Marijuana Times on YouTube. Become a subscriber if you're not already a subscriber. And when you are a subscriber, make sure you click that little bell notification icon so you know when a new episode of Cannabis News has been posted. Otherwise, you may not know. If you're just a subscriber, that's not really enough anymore. You have to click the little notification bell to be notified of videos on YouTube. We are still on Vimeo as well. And you can search, excuse me, the Marijuana Times on Apple Podcasts to get the audio-only version of the show. Today we're talking about Senator Schumer finally unveiling his marijuana legalization, marijuana decriminalization plan on the federal level. Also, some news of some progress in the medical marijuana program in Ohio. And this poll out of Canada that says basically that many people in Canada, even though it's taken a couple years, and they voted in a government who said they were going to do this. Now, a lot of people in Canada say they're not ready for marijuana legalization. Is that a real thing? I mean, on the surface, it doesn't sound plausible, but we'll check it out here momentarily. First, of course, Cannabis News is brought to you by Natureside, nature-side.com. Site is spelled C-I-D-E. Check out their organic, all-natural pesticides, grow safe and poison free. Don't use harmful chemicals in your grow. If you're a legal cannabis cultivator, you want to be regulatory compliant. That means using regulation approved or regulator approved pesticides. Check out Natureside. They can help you with all of that. Their products, their expertise. Nature-side.com. Site, of course, as I said, spelled C-I-D-E. A proud sponsor of Cannabis News. Thank you to them. This first story from MarijuanaTimes.org, written by yours truly. Senator Schumer finally introduces marijuana decriminalization bill. You may remember this bill has been talked about for a couple months. And a lot of people were like, hey, Senator Schumer said he was going to do this, and then there was nothing. Where is the bill? Where is the bill? Well, now the bill has been unveiled, among other things. It would decriminalize cannabis on the federal level by removing it from the Controlled Substances Act. Schumer in a statement said, quote, the time to decriminalize marijuana is now. The new Marijuana Freedom and Opportunity Act is about giving states the freedom to be laboratories that they should be and giving Americans, especially women and minority business owners, as well as those convicted of simple possession of marijuana intended for personal use, the opportunity to succeed in today's economy. Besides the provision of decriminalization, it sets aside tax money for helping minority-owned businesses and things of that nature, which you referenced there. It is gathering sponsors. Some of the original sponsors include Bernie Sanders, Tim Kaine, and Tammy Duckworth in the Senate. There's a similar bill, obviously, we've talked about on the show and on the MarijuanaTimes.org. With Senator Garner and Senator Warren, the one that Trump said probably he would support, which, you can take that for what it's worth. Whatever. However much worth you put to that is how much worth you put to that. I'm not going to tell you what to do. Anyway, so how far these bills go, I don't know. I think they're up to like 7 sponsors now. I think I saw maybe more in the Senate for this bill. It's hard to predict, obviously, but the way things are moving and the pressure that seems to be building in Congress, and President Trump, who's kind of neutered Jeff Sessions, put him in a corner and is kind of saying, hey, I'm kind of open to these things. It's a lot of kindas in there, but it's better than definitely nots. Kindas are better than definitely nots. All right, little wisdom for you. Make sure you write that down or download this show or whatever. It's going to be big. It's going to be on t-shirts. It'll be incredible. Anyway, there's a lot of pressure building in Congress to do something on a federal level about cannabis. And don't be surprised if that happens quickly. Obviously, don't be surprised, if it doesn't happen quickly and drags on and not much happens. But, if something just, if enough people get behind it in the Senate, who knows? We'll see what happens. Make your voice heard. As I always say, little, share here, a contact representative there. It may seem like nothing in the grand scheme of things, but combined with everybody else, well, it's big time stuff. I'm not the first person to come up with that, by the way. That a little bit here and there adds up to a lot. Somebody else came up with that. I just stole it. I won't. I won't lie. I said that's an original construct out of my head. It's been around for a while. This next story is from Cincinnati.com. First medical marijuana grower gets green light to start planting in Ohio. The operations, the program, medical marijuana program in Ohio is supposed to start September 8th. That is not going to happen. They just now approved the first grower. They got to approve other growers. Then it needs to be grown, and the dispensaries need to be approved and opened. Excuse me. And there's a long way to go in Ohio, no doubt. But the state of Ohio has issued its first certificate of operation to a medical marijuana cultivator in Ravenna in Portage County, according to a spokeswoman for the Ohio Department of Commerce. FN Group Holdings, which was one of 25 cultivators to receive provisional licenses to grow medical marijuana in Ohio, was awarded the certificate of operation Friday after having its facility inspected on Tuesday. Excuse me, my apologies. FN Group is one of 12 so-called level 2 growers that receive provisional licenses from the state to grow medical marijuana in up to 3,000 feet of space. So things are obviously, as we've chronicled on this show before, behind schedule when it comes to Ohio's medical marijuana program. While the regulatory framework for Ohio's medical marijuana program must be established by September 8th, the availability of medical marijuana for patients depends on how fast growers can plant, harvest, and process marijuana to sell, or for sale, it should be, but it says for sale, in licensed dispensaries. It's going to be a while. And you probably heard my issue 3 rant before. Insert that here. It's not a great medical marijuana program in Ohio. It's behind schedule. There's lawsuits and just problems every step of the way. Similar things are happening. Obviously, Florida is a much bigger case of just horrific feet dragging and bureaucratic problems and lawsuits. Arkansas is kind of like that too. I don't know. Doesn't seem like it would be that hard, and yet difficult it is. I just don't understand. Speaking of things I don't understand, this last story. BTToronto.ca, exclusive, many Canadians not ready for legalized pot, according to a poll. Last week, Prime Minister Justin Trudeau announced the Cannabis Act would go into effect on October 17th. But according to a new exclusive poll for City News by Dart Insight, a full 55% of Canadians polled said they wanted the date pushed back by up to a year. In fact, 3 provinces, including Quebec, where the desire to delay is highest, asked for more time to figure out how to regulate the production, distribution, and consumption of pot. Here's my thing. This is the Liberals came to power in Canada in, I want to say November of 2015, I believe. Excuse me, in fact, check me in the comments on that. And then in 2016, not much happened. And then the task force thing came out at the end of 2016, I believe. And then they talked about it a lot in 2017 and regulations and things were put together. And then it finally, late last year, started making its way through the House and then to the Senate, and then it passes. It's been almost 3 years since Justin Trudeau became Prime Minister of Canada. And a lot of people are acting like they didn't know this was coming. First of all, they talked about it a lot when they were running. The Liberal Party and Justin Trudeau talked a lot about legalization and what they were going to do if they gained power. Now there needs to be, these people are worried that it's going too fast. Put the brakes on this almost 3-year process that's been in the news in Canada for almost 3 years. We're not ready. We're not ready to figure this out. Even though we have a great example in alcohol on kind of what to do. But no, there's also examples of marijuana in states in the United States. There's Uruguay. It's not a hard thing. But in Canada, they're hell bent on, regulating and restricting every inch of the industry that they can at the federal level and at the provincial level. I don't know. I don't know what. I don't get this poll. I don't get. Well, I don't know what the methodology is. I don't know how they came to these conclusions. But now all of a sudden, people are like, "Oh, whoa, this marijuana train in Canada is just moving way too fast." 53% of those polled are worried marijuana will have a negative effect on their community. 6 in 10 don't believe their municipal police force is ready for the change, and 55% don't believe their province has plans to deal with impaired driving. The survey found 1 in 5, 21% of Canadians are likely to use marijuana when it's legal. 9% are more likely to do so. Most, 73% want pot regulated the same as cigarettes. Half are concerned about addiction for underage kids. 7 in 10 believe adults with children should be banned from smoking pot in their home. Well, that's one thing's for sure. People in Canada want a lot of rules and restrictions. Their government wants a lot of rules and restrictions. So that seems like the thing that's going to happen. But just do it. I mean, I just don't understand. Regulators regulate, to borrow a phrase. Is it Nate Dogg? Is it Warren G? Paraphrasing, of course. If you're old enough to know what I'm talking about, thank you for tuning in. Cannabis news, that's going to do it for this episode, July 2nd, 2018, the start of another week. Thank you to Natureside, nature-side.com, and their organic, all-natural pesticides. They're a proud sponsor of the show. Don't forget to go check us out on YouTube. We're on Vimeo as well, Apple Podcasts, marijuanatimes.org. Click that video tab to find the show and check out the articles there as well. Don't forget YouTube. We're back on YouTube. Share, comment, like. Click the little notification bell so you're notified when new episodes are posted, and continue to support the show. That would be awesome of you. Thanks for checking us out today, and we'll see you next time on Cannabis News.